Mic check 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Putin!
This is your 2-minute warning to the best news show on the planet. That is your 2-minute warning to the best news show on the planet. And that's Jenga. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm still a bit tired from this morning, and I forgot to say, well.
Yes, indeed it is.
Yeah. So we were this morning on Rise Brand YouTube with Sonia Polton. I'm not sure if that's been put out yet, but we were there. We did the news review. John said some pretty spicy things, didn't you, John?
Did I? Me? Spicy? Controversial? No.
Spicy! Oh, maybe spicy has to go into the title of the new...
No.
No.
No. Spicy. How can you use spicy? I mean, what do you think of when anyone says spicy?
Well,
curry or the Spice Girls.
Spicy and sexy. Sexy spice.
Okay.
So with that bit of housekeeping, we are looking at a full rebrand for John's channel here, aren't we, John?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, a little full rebrand, a full touch-up, a change of the name. Maybe just trying to branch out to a wider audience. It's nice to have seen the channel growing as much as it has over the past week or so. It's nice to see that. Thank you and welcome to all of the new subscribers. And speaking of welcomes, John?
Well, welcome one and all to this episode 157 of Chasing Dissent Live, brought to you by your hosts John and Ben from their respective hovels. Episode 157.
It's still fine to use the spooky stuff. Don't judge us. Don't judge us. I saw that judgmental look on you, DW. I could see it through the screen. Why are they still using the spooky stuff?
There's nothing wrong with this spooky stuff.
No, there's not. There's not indeed. But there is a lot wrong in the world right now, isn't there, John?
Yeah, there is. It's quite disturbing, isn't it?
I mean, it's
Really?
very... I tell you what's disturbing is our good friend Dementia Joe. In the speech that we see here, he actually fell off the stage, didn't he?
Did he fall off the stage on that one?
Yeah,
On the midterm speech?
it was yesterday. He fell off the stage, down to the side, fell down the steps, and I just feel bad for him. I do. He's an old man with clear dementia, and they are just using him. He reads the teleprompter. He doesn't know what he's reading. And we've got this headline here. Biden fights to stop midterms defeat as Republicans poised for sweeping gains.
So, yeah, they're scrabbling. Let's face it. No matter how you dress it up, you can put as many dresses as many fine linens as you like, lipstick and everything on it, but it's still a pig. Under all that, it's still a pig.
Yeah.
And, no matter how you look at it, it doesn't look reasonable for the Democrats to pull anything back from the midterms.
No, if we're to...
So everything's looking like a red wave.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I mean, what was it Joe Rogan said? I think he said the red wave appears to be like the doors opening in the elevator in The Shining.
Yes,
And that's what it's going to be like.
Yes, he did indeed.
Now, Mr. Biden saying things like, we're not going to know the results for a few days because all of the votes aren't going to be counted.
Why?
Why? That is a very good question. It's just
then they've started. They've started with the Russians might be interfering with it and stuff like that. But
the Russians.
But hey, and then all your Democrats are on Twitter already saying that Elon Musk has changed the rules prior to the midterms. Well, he hasn't really.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't changed anything prior to the midterms. In fact, he went as far as to say he wasn't going to change anything until after the midterm.
Exactly right. This new Twitter Blue that he's bringing out. Twitter Blue's already available, but this new version of Twitter Blue where you'll get a verification check mark and you'll be able to have access to things like longer form video and the like for your $8 a month. He has specifically said it's not going to roll out until after the midterm elections. So, honestly, I couldn't tell you. There you go.
Well, it's like everything, though. People just make things up now.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, I'll go into it in further detail because it's further down the list. But they just make things up. And Joe here just makes things up all the time anyway, doesn't he?
Of course he does. Well, you say he makes things up. I say he doesn't know what he's saying. So other people make things up and he just reads them off a teleprompter.
Well,
though the thing about his son dying overseas is very concerning because he keeps repeating it.
I was going to say, the last speech he repeated that again.
Yeah, and it did not happen. It was not true. He died of cancer.
He did not die in Iraq.
No, he didn't. He died in the United States of America of I believe brain cancer. I think
so, yeah.
Years after going to Iraq. It's not like he, suffered a fatal injury in Iraq and then went home and passed away. That's not what happened. And he keeps repeating this. My son died in Iraq. No, he didn't. He didn't, Joe. And it's embarrassing. It's upsetting to see an old man who doesn't even know what day of the week it is or where he is being peddled out and used like this. It's a damn shame. Speaking of damn shames, comedian Kathy Griffin subscribes now to the ideology of fuck around and find out, doesn't she, John?
Well, she always has to a degree, hasn't she?
Yeah, but she's banned permanently suspended from Twitter, as is Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions, or the H3 After Dark podcast, for impersonating Elon Musk.
Well, to be fair, I think Elon actually tweeted that Kathy was actually banned for impersonating a comedian.
Yeah, he did. He did say that, and then he responded to that with, "But she can have her account back if she really wants for $8."
$8.
$8. But it's actually, well, it's written into Twitter's terms of service, and it was before Elon Musk took charge, that you cannot impersonate somebody. Well, you can parody them, yes, but it specifically states within the terms of service that you must have the word parody in both your screen name and your bio.
And this is something that he hasn't changed. He's just actually implementing their terms of service.
Yeah, and I mean, I have fallen foul of the impersonation myself on Twitter, haven't I? And so it's nice to see this actually being enforced. And like I said, there's no other way to say it. Fuck around and find out. These people have verified check marks, Kathy Griffin and Ethan Klein. They have changed their names, photos, and bios to Elon Musk. They are tweeting out things as if they are Elon Musk. And to the average person on Twitter, they're looking at that. They're seeing Elon Musk verified check mark, and then some outlandish, bombastic statement. So I think in this case, this probably isn't free speech, because this is impersonation. But I don't...
Yeah, well, I think he's right on this occasion, because, you know, it's all very well for people to parody people, but you just don't... It's not parody when you're trying, and this has come to the fore even more so recently on Twitter, before Musk bought them.
Yeah.
But the more and more parody accounts that you can't tell if they're parody or not, because, you know, the world's that ridiculously mixed up that you just don't know if it's a parody or not.
Well, this is it, and people tend to, and this is kind of an indictment of humanity. I don't mean it to be, but for the most part, most people will believe the first thing they see on social media, right? I know so many people who in person will go, "Oh, look at this that I saw on Facebook," and you go, "That's not even remotely true." But they saw it on Facebook and they believe it. And so when like Natasha in our chat says, this person is verified and they have that verified check mark, and they've changed their name, picture, and bio to somebody else, and they're tweeting out and purporting to be that person. This is, to the average person, they might see, for example, Ethan Klein as Elon Musk tweeting out some hateful bile diatribe and go, "Look what Elon's saying." Same as, it's something, like I say, that I know personally all too well about, because people have quite literally done it to me. So it's frustrating, and it's frustrating, and it would have been frustrating for Elon, and I understand why he's enforcing this one. And one of his free speech stars actually tweeted just about 9 hours ago, one of the people he's sort of working with unofficially on the whole free speech thing, in regards to the Kathy Griffin suspension, he said, "It's amazing how quickly people start calling out unfair suspensions, isn't it?"
Yeah, isn't it?
And then
isn't it just?
Yeah, he said, like, problem solved, mission accomplished. You know, getting people to realise, because these same people that are calling this out, "Oh, it's a private company, Twitter can do what they want," 2 minutes ago. Now that Twitter's in control of somebody else, they're like, First Amendment, it's the First Amendment. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They're bloody pathetic.
So, it's quite amazing how quickly something falls from being the darling of the Liberals to now being the enemy of free speech across the world, according to Mr. Biden.
Well, exactly. You know? Exactly.
So how quickly a platform can change. You know, 1 minute it seems to be nothing but Democrats and Liberals, and the next minute it's spewing lies all across the world. Well, if the people haven't changed, who's spewing the lies?
Well, this is a very good question, John, because CNN say here President Biden called out Elon Musk, saying the billionaire had purchased a social media platform that spews lies all across the world. So how long has it been spewing those lies? Where have those lies been coming from? And who's been spewing them? Because, Joe, you know full well that Twitter, or pre-Elon Musk Twitter, I don't know if it will continue, hopefully it doesn't, but pre-Elon Musk Twitter heavily censored the right of politics. So, where have these lies been spewed from, Joe?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Speaking of lies, here's an example, right? So, Watcher Guru isn't very good at watching or reading, obviously, because you know, and this is what happens with fact checkers all the time. They fact check things that don't actually exist, because look at that statement. Elon Musk agrees some Twitter employees sold verification badges behind the scenes under previous management. No, he didn't. He didn't say that at all.
So what did he say?
Well, what he said
it was yup.
Yeah, he said yup, but the last statement made on the tweet that he said yup to was investigation needed.
Yeah, investigation.
So someone said it appears that Twitter employees weren't verifying people but were doing backhand deals with them. Investigation needed.
I mean, if this is true, though...
Yup, investigation needed, yeah.
If this is true, if this allegation is true that Twitter were purposely not verifying people, then the engineers were contacting them via back channels and going, I'll give you a verification badge for $15,000, then you can understand why some of these people might be very angry that they now have to pay $8 a month for their verification.
I'm not saying it hasn't happened, because there's a good chance it has, but you can't report Musk as saying, yeah, he agrees it has happened, because that's not what I would take from the context of that tweet.
No.
Because the statement was made, and then the question was investigation needed.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is yes, investigation is needed.
And I agree.
So maybe Musk shouldn't have just said, yup, maybe he said, yes, investigation is needed before we, can determine. But even so, people are assholes when they pick up things like that and then report it as facts that they've made up, because at the moment Watcher Guru has just made up a news story that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, and most news outlets do this these days, John. That's
and here's another one. I mean, this young man found dead in his bathtub.
Yeah, Aaron Carter, young musician, brother of one of the Backstreet Boys, has been found dead in his bathtub. This was one of the last tweets he made, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, of course. What happens now? How does Kanye get involved in this?
I have no idea.
It's completely ridiculous. What's it got to do? It's got nothing. Okay, I'll rephrase that. Our chances are very high that it's got absolutely nothing to do with Kanye. I mean, this he's a well-known drug abuser.
Yes.
He's reported as still being on it and still being a bit of a hellraiser.
Yeah.
And still suffering from the variety of problems that you get when you abuse drugs to that extent. And he was at that dangerous age for musicians, wasn't he?
Yeah.
27.
27.
There you go.
That is the age, isn't it? Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, Aaron Carter. It's the age. I think Sid Vicious was 27 as well. It's however you look at it. However you look at it, it's a sad state of affairs when a 27-year-old young man or woman dies unnecessarily, right? They've passed away too young. They haven't lived a full life. I mean, we haven't lived full lives yet, and I'm just in my early 30s, and you're in your early 40s, John.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
What Robin Wolstenholme says, the 27 Club.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man. It's more than likely, on balance, absolutely sod all to do with Kanye West. However, the internet are now somehow blaming Kanye. Yeah. Or Ye, as he likes to be called now.
Yeah, Ye. What is it with these people and names? It's like William from Black Eyed Peas, right?
Yeah, he calls himself Will I Am.
Yeah, yeah, but if you make a hashtag, you can only call it William because you can't use anything other than letters and hashtags.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, before we do move on, if you're enjoying the show thus far, then please do us the great courtesy of leaving a like on John's channel here. And if you haven't already, then please do hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would like to see us doing other stuff other than this, then please head over to our other channel, 100, that's the number 100, Acre Swamp, where we do things like play games, review movies, and if we go out, we might film ourselves going out and stuff like that. Just an everyday sort of channel. Anyhow, speaking of bellends, let's have a look at Just Stop Oil.
Yeah, well, they've ground the M25 to a halt, haven't they? Because they climbed onto the gantry.
Yes, they have. Apparently, they called the police yesterday and they said, please implement a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on the M25 because we're going to be effing about. and at that point, they should have been arrested.
Yeah, well, they probably should have been.
But
so, yeah, well, you're not allowed on a motorway as a pedestrian, so...
It isn't Lucy... Is it Lucy that we've been making?
Louise.
Louise, we've been making famous over on your YouTube channel there.
And she's done quite well. I think. Hold on, I don't know how many. I'll check later. But she was well over 600 views already.
Did you see the fake crying, man? I mean,
yeah,
it was an Oscar-worthy performance. At least they used one with a semi-common name this time, like Louise. Like, we got Louise here. Persephone's already in prison, but
yeah, I mean, if you want to hear Louise, go to youtube.com/Chasing Dissent Official, and you can look at Louise's short. It's only a minute.
It's only a minute,
and you'll get Louise crying and some pithy comments from myself.
So anyway, my message to this is Just Stop Oil are still on Twitter, and I don't understand how they are. And now don't think I'm advocating for censoring speech here, because every single day they tweet out, come to this link to commit crimes. Surely that's illegal.
Under terms of the Communications Misuse Act 2003, I think it might well be.
So I'm right. They're actually breaking the law. They call it arrestable direct action, but what it actually means is commit a crime.
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah. And
still, these people, old people like Louise here, they go out and they do it in the name of this cult.
Yeah. You know what? I feel sorry for these people because they've been brainwashed into it. They've been coerced into it. They've been frightened into it because the people running these cults they're basically brainwashing these people into the point where they really are in fear for their life and in fear for the planet because they think the whole thing's going to fall apart. When the truth is so far from that scenario that. They can't see past it.
Do you know what?
And it's a shame for them. They need help.
Do you know what? If I was given some tangible evidence rather than a model, I would be on board with them. If there was tangible evidence for the doomsday scenarios in which they go out and scream about, I'd be on board with them.
There isn't any.
But this is it. That's all I want is tangible evidence. Yeah. And that's all I ask from these people. That's all I ask from Gettr. I mean, Greta's doing the rounds at the moment. She's doing well in the UK. She's on Russell Howard. She's with Jeremy Vine. She's calling for global freaking communism.
Yeah, she is. So, I mean, speaking about, temperature.
Yeah.
So here's the election day forecast for tomorrow for the midterms. Oh, something's happening tomorrow. The midterms.
The midterms.
And those temperatures aren't unusual in those places. Los Angeles is a bit cold.
Yeah, a little bit chilly. Over in Los Angeles. Billings is very cold.
Yeah, well, you'd expect that. It's in the Midwest.
Well, exactly. Dallas and Miami got lovely 80s. Atlanta 76, Norfolk 58, New York 57. Perfectly mild enough to go out and stand in a line and vote. And I would urge, red or blue or in between, whoever you're going to vote for, do go and vote. because you won't get your choice if you don't. It's as simple as that. Well, you might, but your voice won't have been added to the... I know there are a lot of people disenfranchised who think their vote's not going to count anyway, but if you don't... It's a tough one, isn't it? It really is a tough one, because we have a completely different system here in the UK, and one that needs to be undermined.
Yeah, it is different.
Yeah.
I think the American system has an element of choice that we don't have.
Yeah, it does. It has, you can vote across the board. You're voting down the ticket, so to speak. And most people out of tribalism will vote red down the ticket or will vote blue down the ticket. And what I urge people to do actually is look at the individuals, what they are campaigning on, what they care about. If you think they care about you, they probably don't. But if you think what they're saying resonates with you, it doesn't really matter what colour they are. Just vote for what you want to see. Be the change you want to see in the world. And if there's nobody on the ticket that supports your values, then maybe consider putting yourself on the ticket next time.
Yeah. So Yukon Sunak.
He's arrived, isn't he?
Yeah, he's arrived. And this is COP 27. That's 27 years of this nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay, 27 years of people jetting about all over the world and then telling you what to do in order to stop using fuel, to stop producing carbon. But more than that, there is no evidence. In fact, the evidence is quite strongly that it makes absolutely no difference after every COP climate thing. There is no change to the current rate of increasing CO2. So it hasn't dipped once in 27 years. It's just gone up and up and up and up and up. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, because CO2 is plant food. I mean, if we're running at 450 million parts per million at the moment, it sounds horrific, but you got to remember that when you get most of your commercial greenhouses, they're pumping CO2 into them. So they're between like 1,200 and 2,500 parts per million. And people can still go in and walk around and breathe fine. They don't fall over and die.
Yeah.
They don't fall asleep or whatever. So 450 parts per million isn't a big deal. The planet is getting greener as the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere has increased. So we're not seeing deserts. We're seeing a greener planet. So there's more and more plants. It's a great growing environment, and it's getting better and better. If it got slightly warmer, it wouldn't be because of the CO2, because remember, the CO2 is only 0.4% of the atmosphere, and of that 0.4%, we only produce 0.3% of that 0.4%. So we produce like this out of this, and then let's draw a line to the moon for the rest of the atmosphere. So CO2 is not a major problem in the world, and it's not a major effector of greenhouse. The biggest greenhouse gas is water vapor. And you don't want to start trying to reduce the amount of water vapor we've got, because that means we end up without water.
Okay, so I have seen those figures.
Shut up already! It's science!
I have seen those figures, and what I would like to do now is I would like to point you to some more figures that were given to you by the same quote-unquote eminent scientists over the years. And this is why I ask for tangible proof, because these are things that these scientists have said. 60s, the oil reserves will be depleted in 10 years. 70s, they said another ice age in 10 years. In the 80s, they said acid rain will destroy all crops in 10 years. 90s, they said the ozone layer will be destroyed in 10 years. And 2000s, it's the ice caps will be gone in 10 years. Now, once again, I am not going to sit here and deny that climate is changing. The climate is changing. But what I will say is when people make these sorts of predictions and then expect me, you, and everybody else to essentially impoverish ourselves because of them, then we need some tangible bloody proof, please. That's all we're asking for. That's all we're asking for. Because if one of these doomsday scenarios were to come to pass, and they said, you give up this, and this, here's the proof, here's the evidence, here's the data, not the model, the data, I'd go, yeah, all right, I've got kids.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I guess...
Yeah, I mean, and that's just a tiny, tiny fraction of the things that have actually been, you know, foreseen, and never came to pass. You know, I mean, look at Al Gore and his predictions. None of them have come to pass.
Good old Al Gore.
Yeah, I mean, none of these predictions have come to pass. And the fact is, we've not had to do anything to prevent those predictions coming to pass.
No.
You know, because nobody's really done anything. So despite people saying, you know, you've only got 8 years left to save the world, we only had, 8 years left 40 years ago.
Yeah.
We only had 12 years left 50 years ago. You know, it's like this. It's like the end is nigh, guy. You know, the world will end tomorrow. And when it doesn't, what do? You know, it comes back out the next day going, the world will end next week.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, it hasn't. It's like the main calendar. Yeah, the world will end in the year 2000. The world will end in the year 2012, you know?
Yeah.
And it didn't.
No.
Unless we're all in a simulation.
Well, we could well be, John. That could well be the case. And I've seen people talking in the chat, and before we do move on, I would like to introduce you to the Tree of Representation. This is the Christmas tree for this year. And it will be peppered and decorated with my balls. My balls, sponsored, of course, as with last few years, by you. And you can sponsor a ball. You can sponsor my balls at paypal.me/wheeliebricks. That's paypal.me/wheeliebricks. Adam, if you could put that in the chat. And that will get you a ball with a personalised message on the Tree of Representation for the entirety of the Christmas season. John, you're also going to get a tree, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll do something around that.
Yes. Natasha says, Ben's balls are back on display. Not quite. There's no balls on the tree yet.
No balls yet.
No balls yet, but it's if you go and join our Discord server, there's a link there where you can sort it all out, and it's free to join. So go over there and join and sponsor my balls. Anyhow, shall we move on and stick on COP27 and move to Always Coca-Cola?
Well, and that's a tweet from James Melville that I didn't think. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen it being copied from anyone. It looks fresh.
Yeah, but how much digging did you do?
Well, I didn't do a lot of digging, but yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. What the hell? You know, throw him a bone. So, yeah, it's quite ironic, the people that sponsor COP, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's kind of right saying they produce 120 billion throwaway plastic bottles a year. They do say please recycle me on them, and they do say that they come from recycled materials. They're doing their bit, John.
Yeah, okay. I tell you who's not doing his bit.
Oh, is it who I think it is?
Yeah, of course it is.
Is it because of his foot?
It's because of his foot and his allergies. So he's not allowed to eat because of his allergies, and he's not allowed to go in the water because of his foot.
Oh my God!
What can this guy actually do?
So why
other than what would you say, early terminations?
Yeah.
I won't say any more than that. So, but more than that, and this is what we were banging on about. Why is he going in the first place? Because he's a serving MP representing people in this country, and he's swanning off to Australia for God knows how many weeks.
Money.
Oh yeah.
He's getting paid more for this than he would in 3 years as an MP.
Yeah, so ministers have been urged to change the law to allow the public to get rid of MPs who are absent for long periods without an excuse, and I think that is fair. I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think your MP should be allowed to swan off and do things like they shouldn't be allowed to go and do Strictly Come Dancing or whatever it's called these days. They shouldn't be allowed to go and do Celebrity Big Brother or whatever it was, and they certainly should not be allowed to go to foreign countries and pretend to live in a jungle.
I completely agree with you. But he is
Because
there.
remember,
he is in Australia.
Yeah. Remember the one guy who actually did something while he was living in the jungle that you would do if you lived in a jungle, which was catch, kill, and eat a rat.
Gino!
Yeah. Got fined for it by he didn't get a jail, did he? He got fined.
Yeah, so I watched the first episode of this year's I'm a Celebrity this morning for research purposes, right? And he's not there yet. He's coming in late. So
Yeah.
but one of the
that's what Gino said as well.
But one of the so-called stars of the show, I think her name is Olivia Atwood. She's gone. Less than 24 hours, she's gone.
Okay. And did they get paid the same rate regardless?
Well, I think she might because she didn't quit technically. So she had an allergic reaction to something. This is what I've been reading. And she saw the medics, and she said she was fine to go back in, and the medics said, no, we need further investigation, and signed her off and said, you can't go into the show anymore. So I imagine she will get her full fee, because that's not her fault at the end of the day. But Matt Hancock being paid $400 grand, $400 grand to basically sit around and do nothing and sell his book. Because he's got this problem with his foot because of an SAS Who Dares Wins, meaning, like you said, can't go in the water, and allergies.
Was that another show he was on?
Yeah, SAS Who Dares Wins is another show that he's just recently done.
Is he a professional showrunner or is he a bloody MP? Make your mind up, Matty.
Well,
I mean, how did you find the time with all these affairs going on other TV channels? You know, how did he find the time to be an MP?
Well, he doesn't. He's not an MP, really, is he? He's got the title, but he's not really doing any work. Remember, he's got a book. He's got a book coming out, and that's what he's talking. So he's written in the time that he's been paid to be an MP. He's written a book. He's been on SAS Who Dares Wins. He's now on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And I know we say Matt Hancock's not a celebrity, but apart from maybe Chris Moyles and Boy George, I don't know who any of them arseholes are.
Yeah,
are they celebrities? I mean, Chris Moyles is looking pretty good. He lost a load of weight. He's looking really good.
I don't
actually
really know who Chris Moyles is.
He used to do the breakfast show on Radio 1, and then he's released some albums and he's done some TV shows and stuff like that. He's quite funny, actually.
Okay.
But there we go.
Who's not laughing?
Who?
The guy who was leading the New York City Marathon yesterday.
I know, because he was in the lead, and then 21 miles into the race,
boom,
down he goes. I can't speculate as to what might have gone wrong here. So
no, we can't, can we?
We even if we wanted to speculate as to what may have gone wrong here.
I tell you one thing we can state with a fact.
Go for it.
He's in America.
Mm-hmm. He's in New York.
To get there, he would have had to have had something.
Well, yeah, and once again, I'm not going to speculate any further than that. Let's move on.
Let's move on to the Atlantic, who are still bashing this thing about having a pandemic amnesty, because we need to forgive one another for what we did and said when we were in the dark about COVID.
What do you mean we need to forgive one another? Don't you actually mean we need to forgive you?
Yeah, well, I kind of that's what they're saying, because I don't remember the vitriol going the other way. I think it was all a one-way street.
I mean,
and it was bloody loaded vitriol and quite loathsome and horrible.
I want to hold my hands up here. I do. I want to hold my hands up here because actually, when I first did my show Revolution from a Shed, I was quite angry, as you'll know. And as my impersonator / stalker put out a very on point, I would say, video of me doing, I was very angry about the people that were left to not have a final Christmas, especially I was angry about the dignity that the old people were left without, being left to die alone in the retirement homes. I was angry about the children whose education was destroyed, and I screamed and I shouted and I swore and I was vitriolic. Right now, whether or not I was right to be so, that's up in the air. That's up for debate. But what I think I was right to do was make those points, and for these people, for the Atlantic and other publications to then call me a murderer for making these points, and for people to attack me and attack you and to call us murderers for making these points, and then call us every name under the sun, want us put in camps at some point, some of these publications.
They tried to exclude people from society.
And now they want forgiveness.
They want to be forgiven. Yeah. You know what you can do? You can do one.
Yeah. I've got no forgiveness in my heart for these people. I mean, I can hold my hands up and say I was angry. Right? And I can hold my hands up and say maybe that was wrong. Maybe I came across wrong. But I think that the points I made were stark. They were on point. They were correct. And I stand by every word that I said. And I don't want forgiveness for what I said. I think it was bloody right. So, and moving on to our next slide, which very much actually ties into why I'm so angry.
Well, yeah, I mean, because everyone was stuck in their own house. There would be less conversation generally. Kids that were just learning to talk were suddenly seeing adults in masks.
Yeah.
And unable to look at their mouths and things. So it now appears that pupils are needing language support and have increased by 10%.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
Well,
really?
Honestly, I don't know what they expected, because when you're a child, you learn by lip reading a lot. Children learn by lip reading a lot, and they learn how to mouth the certain words from their parents and from other people, and if they're not able to see that, then of course their speech is going to be delayed. We knew this was going to happen. Experts tried to tell people this was going to happen, and they were called murderers, weren't they, John?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they were called murderers for making...
Yeah, Natasha, it might be odd, but you got to remember that kids learn not only from their parents, but they also learn from their peer group as well.
Yeah.
And I think while you may speak to your children, there are a lot of people who, during the pandemic in particular, were really depressed and isolated, and probably didn't talk to their kids as much as they should have.
No, you're absolutely right.
Maybe sat them in front of a TV and just let them get on with it, you know. And these kind of things all affect development. I think regardless of what age you are, everyone was affected to some degree by this.
Yeah.
And it's been a massive social experiment that has proven to be a complete and utter disaster.
You're absolutely
for humanity, right. You know, and we're still not through it.
And I mean, it's socialization as well, isn't it? The kids became isolated, and not just small children as well, but teenagers, and they were pushed and pushed and pushed, and unfortunately, some of them aren't with us anymore because they felt like they had nothing. And I mean, I can just give you an example. My children's school didn't even offer home sheets, let alone online working. Right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, and some of the stuff they did, some of the stuff they sent home was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. This was not an education for children. No. And it's so damn sad what society allowed to happen, not just to our kids, but, you know, it's the elderly that I felt the most for, because, you know, not just the ones inside the nursing homes, but there are so many old people that they have that coffee with their friend, or they have that trip to the bingo and things like that. And I know that's quite stereotypical, but that sort of thing keeps them alive because it keeps them having something to do, or that little trip to the supermarket, you know. And when all of that was taken away from them and they were locked inside their homes, a lot of them would have just given up and died. And I know that sounds... I know that sounds like, I don't know, extreme, but that's what would have happened
at all. That's what happens to people. They give up.
And it's
speaking of
we did this, John.
Yeah, we did. We all did it.
We did.
Some more than others.
Yeah.
Some fought against it. Some didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, it would appear that it's not just doctors and lawyers that are coming over. Because we thought it was all like professionals, didn't we? You know, it was
I mean, I certainly didn't think that.
Well, no, I mean, we're continually told these people are our future. You know, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're nurses, they're professional people that are going to help us out. But apparently it's actually not. There's some serious criminals in there, subject to Interpol's red notices, which means they are wanted across Europe, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
See, this isn't shocking or surprising because they, a lot of them are throwing their ID documents overboard whilst they're in the sea. We don't know who these people are. We don't know where they're coming from. They might say they're coming from one country and actually be coming from Albania. It seems a lot of people are coming from Albania. Now, like we've said before on the show, I don't remember when Albania was supposed to be a war zone in need of fleeing or in need of asylum from. But all I would ask is that we properly vet the people coming into our country and scatter amongst our towns and cities, because if they've got red notices, they're some of the most hardened criminals. Then we've got children, a lot of us here. You've got children, I've got children, and my only goal as a parent is to try and keep them as safe as possible and raise them well. But if people are coming into the country, we don't know who they are, and they could be dispersed into my town, your town. That is a problem if they are these people. Now, am I demonizing migrants? Absolutely not. I do think, I do think having a blend of cultures can be really quite rewarding. I like other cultures and but we need to know who these people are. We need to know if they are criminals. We need to know if our children are safe around them. And I think that's not too much to ask.
Yeah, and we need to secure our borders and let people in through appropriate means. I mean, if you flushed your passport on the plane to America, how long do you think you'd be in America when the plane landed?
Well, you wouldn't make it for immigration, John.
Exactly. You'd be sent straight back.
You'd either be sent back straight back, or you'd be put in a detention centre until...
You'd be sent straight back.
Yeah.
You'd be going back on the next flight. At the cost of at the airline's cost, and not or your cost, not anything to do with America. You'd just be sent back.
Greg Romford says in the chat, proper channels, not the English channel. Indeed.
And speaking about red notices,
I don't know if I really want to put this on screen. This is quite weird.
Well, you can. I think you can put it on screen. This is
New York Post, isn't it?
No, this is not the
Is
New
it
York
not?
Post. This is Daily Mail, I think.
Oh, wow.
So the problem we've got here is we have a TikTok craze.
Oh, no.
Right? And this has been picked up on TikTok.
Oh,
now,
no.
So these people think it's a mask and it's doing their skin good, but apparently, there's a lot of conflicting advice one way or the other. Some people have been banging on about this for years and other people haven't, saying that they're putting themselves at risk, especially if they've got any open wounds and things like that on their faces. So it's a bit crazy, really.
It is.
It's TikTok. This
is the platform where people started putting chicken in what did they put it in? It was some sort of medicine, wasn't it?
Yeah, NyQuil.
And they were all eating Tide Pods at one point.
Yeah.
Come on, people!
Remember, TikTok is just an extension of the CCP's propaganda wing.
Of course it is. And the thing is, all of those things that I just mentioned that were trending on TikTok, the Chinese version of TikTok, they would not have seen that. They would not have allowed it. All of the softcore porn that we see on TikTok, you will not see that on Chinese TikTok.
Not in Weibo.
Nope. And the reason is because they think it's, not in detriment to society. So you will see things like nationalism and good education and things like that on Chinese TikTok.
Yeah, and be a good slave and do as you're told.
Yeah, you won't see this sort of thing, and that's because they think this is depravity, and they what they think is depravity, they push onto Western audiences via their own algorithms. What does that say? What does that say?
Well, it says that they're trying to undermine Western civilization.
I mean,
that's what it says.
We've got our wonderful moderator and, probably longest-serving team member. She sits in the background now, Jessie, in the chat, saying the same shit is on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, yeah.
Now, if people want to do these crazy TikTok trends and end up getting sick, they want to eat the Tide Pods, I'm not going to stop them because I'm not able to stop them, but I would
not going to tell them to do it.
I would certainly question their IQ. I mean, I certainly would. Now, let's move on to the Times, where Rishi Sunak, or Rashid Sunak, has said the state can't fix all of your problems. The problems that the state themselves...
Well, yeah, so normally I would go, okay, fair enough, the state can't fix all our problems.
Yeah.
But on this occasion, Rishi, you were the state.
Yes.
You were the Chancellor of the Exchequer that put in place the restrictions and the policies that caused the mistakes that made us in the mess we are in right bloody now.
His name is literally on furlough.
You fix it.
Yeah.
Fix it now. Not us.
They're saying...
If the state can't fix it, the state must go.
I agree with you. Because, like people are saying... Stop causing them. That won't stop the politicians making more problems. But they can create them. This is our chat right now. And you're absolutely right. His name is on furlough. Now, we're being told by the Bank of England that there's going to be a 40 to 60 billion pound hole in our finances, right? That needs to be filled by raising taxes and...
Cancel HS2. That would save £40 billion straight away.
Well, yeah, first of all, cancel HS2, but second of all...
That's it. That's the whole field.
Yeah.
Cancel HS2. That's all you need to do.
But second of all, they spent £36 billion on the track and trace program alone. That's the track and... How much did they spend on furlough? All of this was them. It was them. And they need to start admitting it because, like John said, these people work for us and they need to remember it. They are not our rulers. They are our servants. And they need to be told what their place is. I don't care who they are. They need to remember what their place is. Their place is to work for us, not control us, not impoverish us. But hey, Greg says they should shut down all the billionaires' offshore trust funds to pay for any deficits. They need to do something, but they need to do it because they caused it. People opposed all of this.
Hold on. Right. Why should billionaires pay government when government made the mistake and spent the money? Why should they steal the money off billionaires?
I must say, there were more billionaires made during the alleged pandemic because of all of that government funny money.
Right, forget about those billionaires.
Right.
So how do you justify the difference then? Well, how do you do that, right? Because if people are making money... See, this is the problem with government taking... And I'm going to change that. This is a problem with government stealing money from people.
Yes, right? And they do that all the time.
Because and they call it tax.
They do, they call it tax.
They have legalised their theft, and taxation is nothing but legalised theft.
Agreed.
Right? Because it's exactly the same thing that used to happen in feudal times. They would come around and go, give me 3 of your chickens,
Yep.
And they would call it a tax, and that's exactly what they do now, right? And they do the same thing, and they back it up with force and coercion and threat of imprisonment. And it's exactly what they would do in feudal times as well.
You're absolutely right.
So nothing's changed. They're still stealing stuff off you.
Yeah, of course they are.
So why does it make it right for government to go and steal stuff off people that've got more than you to pay for the things that the government did in the first place? So we're back to it's the government that's the problem, not the people with the money. necessarily, and not the people without the money. It's the people in the middle. It's the government that's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with you, but, you know, Arnold makes this point in the chat, says, because billionaires control the government, and to an extent, lobbying and all of that, it's true. I mean, look, we wouldn't have had...
Having said that, but the problem then is we let them control us.
Exactly.
So it still comes back to us in one way or the other, and we still let it happen.
Yeah. Okay. Greg says, I specifically said billionaires, not millionaires. There is a vast difference. And there almost definitely is. But let's move on, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
We got what are we looking at here, John?
I never said millionaires either. I said billionaires. But anyway.
What are we looking at?
What we're looking at here is Wrangel Island.
Right.
So America's now said, we want that back. That belongs to us.
Right.
So it's been in Russian hands since 1924.
Yeah.
And America suddenly decides now is the time to start asking for it back.
So it's been in Russian hands since just after Joe Biden joined the Senate.
Yes.
That was true.
And now they think it's a good time for them to start asking for it back.
Our America, right? Just answer me this.
Remember, Russia used to own Alaska at one point as well.
Yes, they did.
So...
But just answer me this question. Are America looking for any excuse to go to a hot war with Russia?
Yes, they are.
It does appear that they are, doesn't it? And it looks like North Korea and South Korea are looking to have a bit of a boogaloo as well, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, and look who's involved in South Korea. It's not just South Korea.
It's us, it's America.
Yep. It's the US, South Korea drills.
Special relationships. They got a lot of those, haven't they?
So the US sends out their B1s and whatever and their B2s and then, or what is that? That's a B1B, isn't it? Anyway, they've got a couple of B1s flying there. And then North Korea, being North Korea, decides to fire off another missile because they do that occasionally anyway. I mean, I don't know, maybe Kim Il-jung or whatever his name is
Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un is a fireworks fan. Maybe,
I'm a fireworks fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fireworks
fan. So anyway,
fan.
That's so America is just determined to go to war.
They are.
Because wars fix everything, don't they?
Let's have a look at this one, because I don't know how true what we are seeing here is, because obviously it's just a post on the internet, but this is quite interesting.
It's quite good though, because it does look like they are pictures off a TV.
Yes, they're pictures off a TV or even off a computer monitor. Right,
yeah.
But that chyron below could be made by anybody. That is why we have to question everything, as the post itself says. But the allegation here is the girl finds same news reporter on 2 different news channels with a different name.
So the question is he moonlighting? And he's been caught out.
Either that, or people in the studio got it wrong on the chyron. That happens, right?
That's possible, but it's 2 different news channels because the lower third is completely different.
Okay, well there we go.
But
we
go. I just thought it was quite humorous.
I think it's quite humorous, but we do question everything here.
We're in the funny section.
We are.
Okay.
So what other funnies do we have?
Well, I didn't realise. I didn't realise that Ariana Grande was a unit of measure.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke Honeyfunder, who just donated to us on Ko-fi.
Hey! Well done, mate.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It just popped up and read out to everybody. We really do appreciate that. And if you would like to also follow suit, the computer voice calls out your little message there. If you want to put a little message in.
What did he say?
It just said thank you from John and Ben, and then from Luke Honeyfunder.
Oh, tremendous.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate a little donation. And if you would like to give a donation to keep the lights on in the 2 studios, then you can do so at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. That's a good time to segue into that, considering somebody just did it, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyway, let's move on to here. Police rescue Ariana Grande-sized alligator. What?
Why?
What?
Why is Ariana? How does Ariana Grande get brought into this?
I have no idea. I've just been asked a question in the chat. Is Ko-fi better
Yes.
than Patreon? The answer is quite simply yes.
Definitely, because Ko-fi at the moment are, well, I think they're British based, right? And they don't take any money.
No, they don't take any money. It goes straight to John, in full, and
It comes straight to us because we do share.
Well, we do share donations. Yes, we do. We don't get many donations, so we really do appreciate it when somebody does give us a donation. But you know, we don't get paid for what we do here. We do this completely free. We do this.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave us a $5 on Patreon, or for instance, we'd get what, £4, $4.20 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Whereas if you gave us a $5 on Ko-fi, we'd get a $5.
Which is really appreciated either way. So anyway, I'm imagining what actually was happening here is they went down the basement. They could hear the pop music. The gator was twerking in the basement. Right, and they went, "Fuck me, it's Ariana Grande."
And then he said, "No, it's just an alligator the size of Ariana Grande." Although, looking at that alligator, Ariana Grande doesn't look that big.
No, you're absolutely right. She is very, very little. Before we move on to the more funnies, we will not be doing an afternoon show tomorrow, because we will be live from about 10-11 p.m. We haven't quite decided yet, all night for the United States midterms results. We're going to be watching in on news channels over in the United States. We're going to pre-record a segment with scientist Mark Changizi, I believe, which we will put out at the start of the stream because he can't be with us at the times we require. But we're hopefully going to have some more guests. We've invited some more people on, and if it gets slow throughout the night, we might even open it up to you guys to come in and have a conversation with us as well. We will see how it all goes. But we will be on all night for the midterm stream, and we would really appreciate people sharing the love, so to speak, sharing our channel out, evangelizing, sending people here. Luke Honey Thunder says, "I gave £10, so a £5 each. Don't go mad spending it all on cigarettes, whiskey, and wild women."
Just look.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Luke has been a supporter of mine and a follower of mine since March of 2019.
March 2019.
Was it 19?
No, 2020.
2020. Right back from the beginning.
Yeah, it seems longer, but it was only 2.5 years ago.
It was only 2.5 years ago. I feel 10 years older. I really do.
I know.
But let's move on to the Macy's parade, shall we? The Macy's Thanksgiving parade and their new balloons. We've got Bluey here. Yeah.
These are the new balloons for the Macy's parade. I thought they were quite interesting. So they did a test flight. Oh, have you ever seen the Macy's parade?
I have. I've never seen it in person, but I've seen enough
My
video.
wife has. My
Oh,
wife and daughter has. They were there.
Did they enjoy it?
Yeah, they said it was pretty impressive.
That's really good to hear. But we got Bluey here. Look, hi, Dad. I'm an Australian dog. I'm a propaganda piece made by the Australian government and put out on the Disney Channel worldwide. It's me, Bluey. That's what Bluey is. It's made by the Australian government.
So it's as propaganda, is it?
Well, it must be. It's made by the Australian government.
It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, was that Snoopy and Charlie Brown? We got a minion. We got some dinosaurs there.
No, that's not.
That not Charlie Brown?
No, that's
what is that
else.
then?
Is that something out of like?
I don't know. What
kids show?
It looks like an anemic child with Sonic the Hedgehog shoes on. Is what it does look like.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's move on though, shall we? What have we got
Robin
here?
says he found us on BNT. Yeah, we were on BNT, but we can't put anything new up.
No, we can't. Nobody can at the moment, except the only thing going live at the moment on BNT is Rise with Brand YouTube with Sonia
I don't
Bolton,
even know if it's going
which
live.
we were on this morning. If you go and watch today's Rise, we were there this morning.
Indeed, we were.
Doing the news
right.
review with Sonia and Sean.
So this is an oldie, but it's still quite humorous, isn't it?
I mean, it is. We shouldn't laugh.
Why? That's quite funny. Think about it. Say you're a busy... Well, I've actually got a couple of questions about this.
Go on in.
First of all, how romantic a dinner was it when you went to a restaurant that hands out colouring books and crayons?
I mean, I'm certainly thinking it probably wasn't candlelit, John. Because colouring books and crayons with fire and children...
Yeah, I'm thinking this wasn't really that romantic a restaurant.
I agree.
Secondly,
it probably wasn't.
If the guy had his head down, how could you tell he wasn't a child?
Well, Greg Romford says, I'm always going to go to Pizza Hut with a dwarf now because I love colouring in. I mean, I've got small children.
I've been asking for a dwarf for ages. I think we should have our own dwarf on the show.
Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again.
We need all the big YouTubers have got a dwarf. Obviously, having a dwarf just begs you to get better recognition, doesn't it?
Well, apparently so, John. Apparently, is that so you can put them in a series of increasingly humorous situations?
Yeah, like dwarf throwing.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Take them to the pub and put your pint on their head.
Oh, for God's sake!
I mean, we should write a book, 101 uses for a dwarf.
Oh, for God. First of all, no. Second of all, you won't fucking write your own book, so come on. That's not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen, John.
If I did write my own book, I could start promoting it, couldn't I? Incessantly, just like Matt Hancock.
Oh, yeah, you definitely could. Maybe we could get you in the jungle next year.
Yeah.
Get you to eat some kangaroo bollocks.
No, my allergies wouldn't allow me to eat cock. There are a couple of dwarfs that run that show as well, aren't they? And Dick.
Well, Dick is for sure. He's a little.
They're both about the same size as each other.
No, they're not.
Oh, I think they might be. I think they're both dwarfs.
Oh, no, they're not.
Anyway, so that's us. We've run out. The list is finished, and so's the time.
Yeah.
There you go.
And once again, Adam, if you could please put the link to the Discord in the chat. Please come and join us on our Discord server over at whatever the link is down in the chat. And one more time, if you would like to see us anymore doing things that aren't this, you want to come and watch us play Fortnite, which we've been doing quite a lot of lately, actually, whilst chatting shit, then come over to our second channel, 100. That's the number 100 Acre Swamp.
The chat and shit, to be fair, mainly consists of one of us going, I'm down, come and rescue me.
Come and get my bloody reboot card. Jesse asked, when is the next Fortnite show?
Don't know.
About 8 o'clock, probably, knowing us.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe. But tomorrow night, one more time, the midterms. I will be here. You will be there. Luke Honeyfunder says, can you remind me how to sponsor one of your Christmas balls, please? Put up a link. Go to our Discord server that Adam's just put in the chat, and there's a little thread there. Sponsor Ben's balls. So come and join us over there, and you can indeed sponsor my balls for the tree of representation.
We need a sponsor Ben's balls jingle.
Should I write one now?
No, don't write one now. I need to go to the toilet, so let's wrap this up.
Sponsor my balls.
No, let's wrap this up. Right, okay, if you're gonna... Right,
we're going. What an arsehole. What an arsehole. Well, thank you one and all for joining us for this episode 157 of Chasing Dissent Live, where we sit in our homes and talk shit to cameras for absolutely nothing. We really do appreciate you, and we hope you have subscribed, liked, shared, all that good stuff. Goodbye.
That's all we've got time for this evening, so it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Stop playing with my bust!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy.
You're a what?
A pianist!
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
You have been a delightful audience to talk. Good night. Thank you.
Oh, my bottom hurts. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Tim Bob.
Oh, I did love that hamster so. I took it into bed with me every night, you know.
Good night, everybody.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to go now. I've been standing here for a very long time. I think the end of the show must have come and gone.
There you go. That's our solar system.
You forgot Uranus.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. You've been very nice to work to.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.